Hi, folks. I think England should have won this game. I think they were poised to win this encounter. The All Blacks were not that sharp on the night, but I think England made some mistakes, especially with their subs that led to the loss. Give credit to the All Blacks because I think they showed why they're top side. Enjoy the review.
Folks, welcome to another episode. So the All Blacks played England at Twickenham Alliance Stadium, as it's called lately. Um, so yeah, it was beautiful, guys. I must say it was beautiful. It was a beautiful game. Even the pre-game festivities looked nice. It looked like a vibrant atmosphere. It was packed. The English people came out to watch their team play, the All Blacks. So from the start, you could see that All Blacks showed their hand from the start. They showed what they were about. The first try that was scored by Mark Talia is just a classical example of what their tactics were in this game. The build up to this try were few carries in the mid areas of the English aggressive defense. So they brought all the guys, like they compressed that defense nicely. I think they made about 5 carries, and then they pushed it wide to Wallace Titi, who offloaded to Mark Talia on the outside, and there was a mismatch there, and then Talia skinned Ellis Genge, outpaced him to the try line of England, and then they scored the first 7 points for themselves. That's the All Blacks' first try.
Folks, you can see how compressed that defense is. So their spaces outside, and then they moved the ball to McTelly on the outside, and he went on to score his try.
So I think this sets out the whole thing of what they are gonna do in this game. This is the tactic they used throughout the game because the English defense was very good, coming up aggressively, but the All Blacks used this tactic where they will force in between those tight players, short passes, offloads, and contact, and then they would then spread it out wide to their nice flamboyant wingers there, who would try to manipulate the space on the outside areas. Yeah, it worked about a few times, but most times they were really struggling. They were really struggling against this tough English defense. The second try of the All Blacks was scored by Will Jordan. This time around, they did it was a switch play. I think Bottom Barrett ran a nice angled line inside, and then he passed the ball to Will Jordan, who was making another angle, a run opposite to what Barrett was making, and then they opened a nice gap in the English defense, and then they went on to score this try through Will Jordan. I think this was a classical case of manipulating a very strong defense using different angles. You just run at different angles, spaces open up in that defense, and then we go score a try.
Yeah, Fox, the switch up. Barrett runs towards the touchline, and then he passes the ball to Will Jordan, who's running on the opposite direction. And then he opens that gap and then goes through and to score this try for the All Blacks.
Um, I think the English defense also. I think the English team came with their own tactic. I think their tactic was to just contain the All Blacks when they attacked them. So their tackles were very good. England were tackling very well, and if you show the tackle count of dominant tackles, England were winning that battle. Also, the knock-ons. On the knock-on, they would go to a scrum and then they would win a penalty from that, and then Marcus Smith would go and kick these penalties. So the plan from England was to just contain the All Blacks, force turnovers, force knock-ons, go to set piece, kick for points, and it was working well in the first half. Working well in the first half. Marcus Smith was kicking very nicely for the Red Roses. By halftime, the score was England 12, All Blacks 14. All Blacks 2 tries scored. England just addition of all these penalty kicks that Marcus Smith was kicking from the mistakes of New Zealand. The second half, I think, was good for England. I think they continued with their aggressive defense. It paid dividend. It gave them fruits this time around. They scored a try through Feiwa Boso. It was an intercept that was made by Marcus Smith. Again, it's just aggressive defense. He made that run, and then he found also inside, and then they made that pass, and then also his pace, he went on to score this try for England.
Yeah, here you can see that nice rush defense. Marcus Smith reads this nicely, intercept, makes a run, and then inside he finds Fewab makes the pass to him. Fewab goes on to finish this nice try for England.
So yeah, but after this try, everything looked very balanced. It was very balanced, both sides. I think the scores were also very close to each other. But the big moments came when England changed they changed. Uh, I think they changed some people in the front row, and then they made changes in 9 and 10. Ben Spencer came out, um, and then Marcus Smith also was subbed out for George Ford. Um, I think these subs were a big moment in this game. I think they changed the whole game for England, because after this, the All Blacks they got first scrum penalty. They went on and played, got the second scrum penalty, and then England couldn't contain that momentum. Now the All Blacks had managed to gather from this game, and it was all backwards for England. The All Blacks were coming at them. They were carrying nicely. They were sharp. They had found their mojo, and they scored this try again to Mark Talia.
Yeah, folks, this English subs didn't really help. The front row dropped the standard in the scrums, and they started to give away penalties to New Zealand. This is the first scrum penalty. This is the second scrum that they gave away to New Zealand successively, and then this gave momentum to New Zealand to play in those red zones and found opportunities to free guys like Mark Talia, who went on to score his try in tight space.
This try for Mark Talia was the same as the first one, but this time he had no space to work on the outside, but he found a way, poor defense from George Ford, and Talia scored this nice try for England. Again, it's a mistake from England. I think England should have kept maybe even the front row. I know the guys are tired, but that front row, when it went out, there was a big difference. Also, the number 9 also, some of his passes were not good. Number 10 is a guy who doesn't come in those games. Also, I think the coach of England also elect that feel for the game. If you're in a game, you come with your plans, right? But in the game, you're supposed to adjust those plans according to how the game is going. You don't have to change players because you came with those plans before the game. I think he made a mistake by making these changes at 9 and 10. He should have tried to keep these guys to continue and go on and finish this game. So yeah, the All Blacks got a yellow card after this through Leonard Brown. Made a mistake. I don't know what it did. Forgot what it did, but they finished with 14 men. England tried to really climb back to the game, but the All Blacks really had their tails up, and they defended this scoreboard and went on to win this game 22-24. I think England should have won this game. I think this was a game to win for them because the All Blacks were not sharp. All Blacks were making a lot of mistakes. The All Blacks they were defending well, but the power of England, I think, was good enough to win this game. But I think they lacked that finishing instinct towards the end. Those guys were experienced enough to go and finish this game. Josh Ford is not an attacking guy. He's a guy who comes in when you want to play a containing game, but this was not the day. This was not the day. Should have kept him on the field, Marcus Smith. Yeah, they go forward now and play another team next week, both the All Blacks and England. But it was a nice game. Thanks.